Paul George, now of the Los Angeles Clippers. How many times have you said that? Or how long is it going to take you to get used to that? Listen to me again. Paul George, now of the Los Angeles Clippers. As we all know, Paul George was one of the premier moves. It was one of the most talked about things in sports. Him and Kawhi Leonard that won, what was it, like a Friday night? I was watching some preseason basketball. It was Zion Williamson's first game in the preseason. It's actually his only preseason game. It was an earthquake that happened like around 9 or 10 that night on the East Coast. And then right after that, like a bigger earthquake happened when we found out not only was Kawhi Leonard about to join the Los Angeles Clippers, he was not coming alone. He's bringing Paul George with him. Crazy summer for the NBA. I'm super excited about the season. One guy that I'm going to have to wait a couple more weeks to see play basketball, though, will be PG-13, as he announced, as we've had media day over the weekend, and Paul George and everyone else is doing interviews talking about their hypeness for the NBA season. This is going to be a really good season, y'all. I'm super excited. Paul George let it be known, though, that he will miss all of October, and I think there's a good chance he'll miss some of November. I don't think the Clippers will be in any rush to bring him back. As we all know, Paul George did have shoulder surgery this offseason. Look, I told y'all this. If you follow me and you've been a subscriber to my platform, you know for quite some time I've been telling y'all since around February. I think I noticed it personally around the trade, right around the trade deadline, right after All-Star break. After All-Star break, Paul George was never the same guy. Now, I don't know if he got the adequate rest that he needed over All-Star weekend. Did he do something out of character? I don't know what it was. But up until All-Star break, I'll say around the months of December, January, and the top of February, Paul George was in that MVP conversation. It was, for the most part, it was Giannis or Harden at 1 and 2, depending on what spot of the season. But right there at 3 and making a push was PG. All right, he was literally carrying that Oklahoma City Thunder team. It seems like everybody had bought in on the notion that PG was the guy. Even Russell Westbrook to an extent, right? And when he fell apart and his shoulder fell apart, it became Russell Westbrook's team again, and that's usually not a good sign. As great an athlete and player Russ is, I don't look at him as the guy that I want as my number one. So with Paul George, his shoulder kind of aggravating him and needing surgery. I think he got surgery on both, if I'm not mistaken, just to be the best version of himself again. Yeah, that Thunder team fell apart. That's why they got eliminated in the first round. That was the real reason why that Portland was able to get rid of them in 5 games. PG was hurt. No excuses, though. I think Paul George is going to miss, just my opinion, most of November. I don't think the Clippers need to rush him back at all, because what you're allowing yourself to do without Paul George in the mix is you can establish Kawhi Leonard as the guy of the team, right? So when Paul George comes back in, you get a 25-point per game scorer, guy that can get you 8 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists a game. Like, you're getting that back. So, like, as great as this team, I think the Clippers are going to be great without Paul George. If Kawhi would have signed with the Clippers by himself, meaning no other star would have come with him, I think the Clippers would be 1 or 2 in the Western Conference, even without an extra guy. But bringing PG with him, I think they're the best team in the NBA by a little margin, right? So I think Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers will be fine. It gives other guys an opportunity to establish themselves before you get another guy who's going to he's going to take 18 to 20 shots a game, you know? So I think missing Paul George is a good thing for now. You don't need to rush him back. You can see that his shoulders really got taxed last year, so you allow him to be 100% before you bring him back. No rush. This is not the Oklahoma City Thunder team, right, where you needed Paul George in the mix. You needed Russell Westbrook in the mix every game. They couldn't miss time, right, because there probably was a stretch in February or March where ideally you would have liked to just sit Paul George out for 3-4 weeks, right? But the Thunder were in the mix of not making the playoffs. It was right there, like not making the playoffs. It was a struggle for a little minute for that team, so you had to keep playing. And PG understood that, and Russ understood that. But with this Clippers team, I mean, this team literally had the Warriors on the brink of elimination. Don't forget, the only team to face the Golden State Warriors of old with Kevin Durant on that team last year at full strength for an entire series last year was the Clippers. And they took that Warriors team 6 games. Let's not forget that they came back from down like 30 plus points in one of those games in Golden State to beat the Clippers. To beat the Warriors, excuse me. Patrick Beverley got under the skin of Kevin Durant for a couple games. Now, after that, KD went for 45 and 50 in back-to-back games. But be clear, the only team to play the Warriors at full strength, maybe one of the greatest teams we've ever seen in NBA history, was the Clippers last year. And, I mean, they gave the Warriors all they could handle. They just ran out of firepower. Now, you make a move. Unfortunately, you got to let go of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You got to let go of Danilo Gallinari. But you bring in Kawhi Leonard. You bring in Paul George. This team is ready to go. And, Kawhi Leonard, he'll hold it down. Patrick Beverley. Also, a lot of nice acquisitions that this team picked up as well in the free agent market. Don't forget, they still got Montrezl Harrell for one more year. Lou Williams back. This team is scary good. And we'll see how they can fare without the services of Paul George for the first part of the season. It's worth noting that the Clippers do kick off their season versus the Lakers opening night, October 22nd. Then they got Golden State, Phoenix, Charlotte, Utah, and San Antonio to close out the month of October. If PG's timeline is correct, he'll be ready to go top of November when they get started on a little bit of a... that's pretty much 6 games in October. If PG's saying he's going to be back in November, then, okay, you missed 6 games. You got a few cupcakes in there between Phoenix, Charlotte, and we'll see how Utah is. Utah might be pretty damn good. But you got some tough games in here. The Lakers, the Warriors, Spurs. These are playoff teams, so we'll see what happens. I think PG will take a little more time, though. I think he should take some time, get his body right, not try to rush back at the top of November. Come back around December after Thanksgiving, get you some good stuff, food, and then be your best version of yourself December through the remainder of the season, which will probably be June for this team. You into sports, we got you. NFL news, I got you. NBA news, NBA highlights, NBA full coverage, feature stories, all that great stuff, I got you. We even got a little bit of Madden and 2K mixed in. Subscribe to this platform, and I got you. More quality content on the way. Subscribe.